Welcome everyone. My name is Nina Benoit. I am the Director of Sustainability at Brightest and the host of the AI Sustainability podcast. So for first-time listeners, this podcast talks about all things related to artificial intelligence and sustainability, exploring how AI can have a positive impact on our planet and our people, and what are also the potential limitations or threats of AI. So today I have the pleasure of welcoming Anastasia Kuskova, who is the CEO and co-founder of Sirius, an AI-powered sustainability intelligence platform for the metals and mining sector, and a recognized leader also in ESG and responsible sourcing with previous experiences in the field. So Anastasia, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we dive in, can you give us a quick overview of what Sirius is and what inspired you to create an AI-driven sustainability platform for the mining industry?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Nina. Yeah, essentially, Sirius is growing from very, very personal frustrations with lack of tools that actually understand the complexity and contextuality of sustainability data. So what we do with Sirius, we built a sustainability twin for a company, taking into account all qualitative and quantitative data, and then supporting sustainability teams in sharing that data very effectively with all of the stakeholders and learning from it to build more impactful strategies.
Great. And we're going to talk that a bit more in details, but how is the AI used exactly in your platform?
So AI essentially enables us to digitize this contextual information. So right now, most of the sustainability tools that are on the market, they only focus on the metrics. And in sustainability data, there are only 20-30% are metrics and the rest is context. So how you do things, what specifically you do in human rights and in communities, in et cetera, et cetera. So in various aspects. And even in metrics, you need to provide context, like how you measure, what's important, what are the methodologies, et cetera. So right now, all of this 70-80% of contextual data have to go through the head of sustainability officer. So what we do, we use AI to build knowledge graphs and actually support sustainability teams in inputting that data so that they don't need to go through all of the documents, look for the way they approach responsible sourcing in this particular area, how they approach conflict regions, etc., when they need to respond to stakeholders. So AI is a huge part of making sure that the context in sustainability data can be accounted for and used. That is not possible without AI.
So essentially, you're really helping companies to get the data that they actually don't have right now.
No, they do have the data. They just so the big difference with AI, it's you need to have the right data. So for AI to work, right? So they have the data. But it takes a lot of time to transform the data in whatever format is relevant to your stakeholder, whatever questionnaire, whatever report or format that is needed. So AI can do that, and sustainability officer just needs to verify and review a few things.
Very clear. Thank you for the explanation. And so diving specifically into the mining sector, in which you have a lot of experience, obviously the mining sector has faced a lot of challenges in transparency and responsible sourcing. How do you think that AI can really improve traceability and ensure ethical supply chains?
I think the problems in the mining industry in terms of traceability or ethical sourcing, they're not technological. So they are embedded in the nature of the value chain and the incentives that are split, like in the way that incentives are split among the actors. So in all honesty, technology cannot solve that problem. What technology can do is to shift the incentives and support more ethical, more responsible behavior. And this is where AI can serve well. So essentially, how do I word that properly? You have a lot of so where the issues come from. You have a lot of players, and the incentives are misaligned. So it's easier, it's cheaper for you to source irresponsibly. So with technology, you can split the incentives and split the premiums in a way that it becomes much more valuable for you to source responsibly, to mine responsibly, and to enable ethical supply of minerals. So their AI and various solutions, not only AI but just technological solutions, can help. I don't think per se blockchain, because there was a part of the question on like AI, blockchain, etc. I don't think per se blockchain is something that's very much needed. As a person who actually invested a lot of time on building the blockchain solution, I really realized at some point that you're, using the microscope for the nail, for the nails instead of the hammer, right? So it's quite expensive. It's you don't really need molecular traceability everywhere. So you have to be selective. And essentially, the way we approach that problem with Sirius, and we are not competing with traceability solutions, we work with them. But the way we think incentives can be split is or shifted is on really being able to connect to primary data from your suppliers, regardless how far they are in your value chain. So you do not need like molecular traceability. You just need to know that your metal came from company A, and then you can just access the data from company A if company A enables you to do that. So this is what can be done with Sirius through sustainability twin connectivity, where you have all the primary data of the company and just get access to that.
And so you already mentioned the Sustainability Twins, which was my next question. So you created those Sustainability Twins. What does this mean exactly in practice, and how does it help?
So when I say twin, everyone thinks this is like a 3D digital model, because that's I think that we called it for lack of the better word, and now it's stuck, so we have to use it. But essentially, this is a knowledge graph. So this is this is really how we keep information in our head. So it's the same way. It's a knowledge graph of everything what's happening in sustainability in the company. So their policies, their processes, their commitments, also their data and metrics from ERP systems, etc., all combined. So, okay, what's happening in sustainability? All the data is in the twin for previous years, for the current year, or for the things that we promised externally, for certificates, our internal policies, and so on and so forth. So essentially the very holistic picture of what's happening on a very granular level, where like pieces of the data are extracted and then mapped on that, the knowledge graph is created, and also you have that per product, asset, corporate level, so on different, prism, and like you can really use that data as essentially look at that as a knowledge base for sustainability per company, and then using that sustainability twin, because that's the core of the tool. We have a set of algorithms that can extract the data and like share that or compare the data with certain things.
Okay. So essentially, the Sustainability Twin is with another company, right? With one of the suppliers, and that enables you to get the data and then map it.
You can have sustainability twins for your company or for your suppliers. It's just a way of maintaining and not really structuring, but let's say structuring for simplification purposes, structuring all of the contextual and numerical data that you have on sustainability. So both numbers, qualitative and quantitative, because you cannot approach qualitative information without grasping the context, right? So this is why the knowledge graph approach and why AI is needed.
Very clear. And obviously, I'm sure that there is a lot of knowledge gap and data gap, so that's really important to have those tools, right?
Yeah, so there, I would say, while we work with companies who are mainly more mature in terms of their data quality, we still identify a lot of gaps or maybe conflicting data, and that helps a lot in also understanding what's needed. What's needed to be done in the company still, where they need to invest more. And it's also not just random because, I dreamt that we need more biodiversity data, but actually because your customers ask for that or your stakeholders ask for that, and you can map and understand that.
Very clear. And so, among your clients, maybe some industries are slow to adopt AI. Have you faced any resistance in mining? And if so, what would you say were the biggest pushback you've seen?
Hmm. I think in general, for large B2B enterprises, there are two types of pushback. So first, we don't want to share our data with anyone. So like this part of being very, very conscious and cautious of the data that's going outside to the third-party AI tools. And in the mining or trading industry, that's a huge subject. Those are very sensitive, like the organizations that work with very, very sensitive data. So for them, that's very important, and this is something that we had to address from the beginning. It was very clear if we want to work in this industry, we need to learn how to handle that, because otherwise it's just not going to happen. And if we talk about the second part is really just maybe not understanding the way AI can work, and everyone think that it has to be like a huge Microsoft type of project where you spend millions on establishing the system and then approaches and then embedding something and so on. And I think or sometimes companies want to build it internally. So I think those are the key. So data concerns, um, we need a huge project, and like we need to have everything clear up front, which is impossible with AI because it grows so fast and it develops so fast, like impossible. And third, like we're going to build it internally. And I think for all of them, there is rationale. So there's definitely a rationale for being very conscious of the data and very cautious with what you share. Uh, for that, you need an internal approach on like how you start working with AI, and that's the response a little bit on the second topic. It's much better to start experimenting with small things where like maybe you can use public data, or maybe you can use less sensitive data and start building those successful AI cases internally, so people start to understand the tool better, not trying to solve a huge problem now, like hire head of AI and think of whatever impossible huge multi-million projects that never going to get you results because you will be much slower than the industry. And third, in terms of build versus buy, that really, really, I mean, especially for mining companies, like building something in AI for mining company, that's like you have to be 10,000% sure that it makes sense because otherwise everyone will be much, much faster and much more skilled in actually building AI. And like you're not going to be able to hire the best AI engineers anyway, or like you have to pay them 10x compared to any tech company. Like, why would you do that unless you have extremely, extremely unique data set? So, which is still, as we know, by DeepSeek, etc., is not absolutely needed. So you can work on synthetic data. So it's really about the talent and about the knowledge. And I don't think that's a competitive advantage for mining companies to build something internally on AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And so,
Sorry for being blunt, our mining listeners.
and so going back a bit to your career, besides Sirius, so you've really had a fascinating career. You were leading ESG at this $10 billion mining company. You won a COP29 Green Prize. So, what advice do you have for companies looking to integrate AI into their sustainability strategies based on your experience?
Hmm. So COP29 was with Sirius. So that's not the career outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks so much. Um, so advice for companies that want to build AI and sustainability, implement AI and sustainability. Well, I think first off, the biggest value in AI right now, the biggest use cases are for white collar workers. So uh, improving efficiency with any admin work, any data work is huge lever. So, and the first thing, especially if there is certain resistance in the company, is to come up with a very small, a very manageable and chewable case that will bring ROI immediately. This is also how we approach rollouts in the companies. So we start with very, very obvious, very strong ROI case, and then we build more. So, and engaging stakeholders that have, that benefit immediately. So that's one thing. Second, garbage in, garbage out, right? So you've got to have good, you have to have great data, and if your data gets contaminated with AI, then it's like it's a pain. So you have to like figure out how to extract, how to get rid of it, and so on. Another point is really to be clear on what data you're comfortable sharing and what not. This can be done on just the principal approach, and then you learn, and then you discover more. With very much like a startup approach, you just try to chew a little bit, bring immediate value. Don't plan everything in advance, but have very clear principles on how you approach that. And and try to build very niche cases. But that's also that's aligned with the first point, because I think AI productivity of AI really depends on how niche and how embedded in the workflow it is. And what we see with Lovable right now, right? We are like the work is going to change, absolutely 100%. And I always say that, so it's not going to sound new, but like you are not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by people who know how to use AI and who can be 70-80% more efficient. But to be more efficient with AI, you need to have those niche cases. You need to be embedded in the workflows, in your workflows. Like AI needs to be embedded in the workflows, and you need to become a bit of a builder yourself. So you need to be able to build like with Lovable, that's for builders, right? And we as startups also need to create tools that enable our users to be builders internally. So that's how that's what I see is important. That's not particularly for sustainability, but sustainability is part like. 80% of I was just on the call, and head of sustainability of a large electronics company told me 80% of our work is just crunching data. So so there you can get a bunch of productivity.
Definitely, and the end goal is also to have a positive impact, right? So that's what you're trying to do in the end as well.
Well, if your sustainability team, 80% of what your sustainability team does is responding to ESG requests, this is not how you get the impact, right? This is not the most fulfilling work. What the AI can take, I really like the way Sana positions that, right? So they say that they build AI for human genius. So we build AI for unlocking the sustainability genius of people, so that they don't need to work on Excels. Well, they have to a little bit, but like that's not their main job, right? Their main job is to see opportunities, to see trends, to understand where they can gain those incentives, how they can build greener products and get paid for that. Because long gone those days where sustainability is just something that we have to do. So we just need to do that, and because that's the right thing, etc. Like, come on, look around. The only way to survive now is you are very much linked to profitability, and sustainability people need to focus, sustainability teams need to focus on building this bridge with sales teams, building this bridge with banks, with stakeholders, and really understanding how to deliver additional value to the company through sustainability. That means gaining green premiums, or gaining getting the incentives for becoming more sustainable. And seeing those patterns, understanding them, like it takes time, and also it takes technology. So that's what we do. And that's how we support sustainability teams on actually delivering impact. Let's say that.
That makes a lot of sense. And so, who for the listeners who want to learn more about Sirius and follow your work, where can they find more information?
Well, I'm a meme lord of, of sustainability. That's you can follow me on LinkedIn, and also we have a very good newsletter that is with enormous amount of subscribers now. So I'm surprised to see that it's so popular on sustainability and really like our view on how things are going to develop. And of course, follow Sirius page. It's a bit more serious than, no pun intended, it's a bit more serious than what I post. So, so a newsletter, my LinkedIn, our Sirius LinkedIn.
Perfect. What is the name of the newsletter?
Keeping up with ESG.
Keeping up.
No references to the very popular show. Welcome.
Yeah, perfect. Well, then people can subscribe to the newsletter, follow you on LinkedIn, and go to the Sirius page.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks so
So
much.
yes, thank you for your time, Anastasia. If you like this podcast, I invite you to share it, comment, or reach out to me or Anastasia on LinkedIn. And if you enjoyed the episode and you have any questions, feel free. My name is Nina Benoit, and this is the AI and Sustainability podcast. Thank you for listening.